There was a monkey born from a celestial stone created at the beginning of the universe. He mastered a transformative magic called the 72 transformations, allowing him to soar through the clouds and travel 108,000 miles with a single somersault. He was highly skilled in martial arts and once single-handedly challenged 100,000 celestial soldiers. Later, after wreaking havoc in the heavenly palace, he was imprisoned under the Five-Finger Mountain by the Buddha for 500 years. Eventually, he was rescued by a monk and accompanied him on a journey to the west to obtain sacred scriptures. This monkey is the famous Monkey King, Sun Wukong, from Journey to the West. On their long and perilous journey, Sun Wukong and Sanzang faced 81 trials. From the black Bear Guai to the yellow wind sage, countless demons blocked their path. But they weren't alone for long. Along the way, two faithful companions joined them, Zhu Bajie and Sha Wujing, and together, they became legends. In this video, we reveal how these legendary figures came together and formed the most iconic team in Chinese mythology. I'm Mr. Yao, and welcome to the Legend Yokai channel. Here, I share famous yokai and urban legends. I'm also working on content related to Journey to the West. If you're a fan of these topics, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any future videos. In Chinese mythology, the world was created by a god named Pangu, who split the heavens and the earth. After his death, his body and organs transformed into the various elements of the universe. Pangu is thus known as the creator god who shaped the cosmos. It is said that during the creation of the world by Pangu, a remnant stone fell into the Saha world, landing on Flower Fruit Mountain in the Aulai country of the eastern continent. This celestial stone absorbed the essence of the sun and moon over many years and eventually gave birth to life. One day, the stone cracked open, revealing a stone egg. When the wind blew on the egg, it transformed into a stone monkey. Upon its birth, the stone monkey's eyes emitted two beams of divine light that shot up to the heavens, startling the Jade Emperor. This stone monkey would later become Sun Wukong. After the stone monkey was born, he possessed a physique much stronger than that of ordinary monkeys. As a result, he subdued the entire monkey tribe on Flower Fruit Mountain and became the Monkey King in their base, the Water Curtain Cave. The Monkey King enjoyed a life of leisure on Flower Fruit Mountain for 30 to 40 years. One day, while he was playing with the other monkeys, an old monkey suddenly collapsed and died in front of him. The Monkey King learned from the other monkeys that the old monkey had died of old age, marking his first encounter with the concept of death. The Monkey King decided to seek a way to achieve immortality. He crossed the ocean from the eastern continent and spent over 10 years to reach the western continent, where he apprenticed under the sage Putty Zhu Shi, also known as Master Bodhi. The sage gave the Monkey King the name Sun Wukong and had him spend 7 years learning basic duties, social etiquette, and manners. Later, the sage taught Wukong the secrets of immortality at night. To help Wukong avoid disasters, the sage also taught him the 72 transformations and the cloud somersault technique. After mastering these skills, Wukong showed off in front of his senior brothers. The sage, after reprimanding and warning him, expelled him. In truth, the sage had taught Wukong all he could and knew that his small temple was not a suitable place for Wukong to stay permanently, so he found an excuse to let him go. After mastering his skills and returning to the mountain, When Sun Wukong returned to Flower Fruit Mountain, he found his monkey tribe being bullied by a yokai named Hunshi Demon King. This demon not only captured many monkeys, but also nearly took over the Water Curtain Cave, intending to make it his territory. Who is Hunshi Demon King? Why was he so bold as to cause trouble on Sun Wukong's territory? At that time, Sun Wukong had not yet wreaked havoc in heaven. He was still a nobody. During that period, any yokai dared to invade Flower Fruit Mountain. It just so happened that Hunshi Demon King was the first to discover this treasure land, thus becoming the first yokai to invade Flower Fruit Mountain. Hunshi Demon King stood at a height about 10.2 meters, wore a black iron helmet, a black silk robe, black iron armor, and floral patterned boots, and wielded a large sword. He resided in the water-filthy cave of Mount Canyuan. He had the ability to ride clouds and fog, commanded many small demons, and was a local tyrant. Discontent with his small territory, he set his sights on Flower Fruit Mountain and the Water Curtain Cave. Despite his imposing stature, Hunshi Demon King's abilities were not great. He attacked the Water Curtain Cave multiple times, but was always repelled by the determined monkeys, never managing to take it. Though he failed to capture the Water Curtain Cave, he still had an advantage over the monkeys of Flower Fruit Mountain, capturing 40 to 50 young monkeys and taking them back to the water-filthy cave as servants. When Sun Wukong returned to the Water Curtain Cave, he learned from other monkeys about Hunshi Demon King's repeated invasions of Flower Fruit Mountain. Enraged, he rode the clouds to Mount Canyuan to confront Hunshi Demon King. Sun Wukong found the water-filthy cave and declared himself the master of the Water Curtain Cave at Flower Fruit Mountain, seeking to challenge Hunshi Demon King. Upon hearing that Sun Wukong had come, Hunshi Demon King donned his armor, armed himself, and came out to fight. Seeing that Sun Wukong was less than 4 feet tall and unarmed, Hunshi Demon King underestimated him, mocking him for being overly arrogant and walking into his own death. Sun Wukong, angered by Hunshi Demon King's contempt, attacked with his fists. Hunshi Demon King, seeing that Sun Wukong was barehanded, thought it would be laughable to use his weapon against him and decided to fight barehanded as well. Despite his short stature, Sun Wukong was very agile and managed to land several blows on Hunshi Demon King. Hunshi Demon King, frustrated that Sun Wukong kept dodging his attacks while he missed repeatedly, decided to ignore the rules and grabbed his sword to strike at Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong evaded the sword and pulled out a handful of his own hair, transforming it into hundreds of clones that swarmed Hunshi Demon King. Overwhelmed by the onslaught, Hunshi Demon King eventually lost his sword to Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong then used the sword to cleave Hunshi Demon King in two and killed all his minions before burning down the water-filthy cave. Sun Wukong successfully rescued the 40 to 50 young monkeys and brought them back to Flower Fruit Mountain. Hunshi Demon King's invasion served as a significant warning to Sun Wukong. Only by arming his monkey tribe could they resist future invasions by other demons. Flower Fruit Mountain had 72 caves and countless demons and monsters, and Hunshi Demon King's invasion might just be the beginning of many more to come. Sun Wukong then gave the sword he took from Hunshi Demon King to his monkeys and taught them how to use it. He also gathered many weapons and armor for his tribe and taught the young monkeys how to cut bamboo for poles, carve wood for weapons, and make various flags. He trained them to blow horns to communicate signals, practice advancing and retreating tactics, and learn how to set up camp and prepare for battle. From that point on, Sun Wukong's Flower Fruit Mountain became a powerful armed group, strong enough to resist an invasion of 100,000 heavenly soldiers. Sun Wukong defeated monsters and demons within 100 miles radius. However, he often found himself at a disadvantage in battles due to the lack of proper weapons. Therefore, he decided to seek out a powerful weapon. Upon hearing that the Dragon Palace in the Eastern Sea housed a divine weapon, Wukong resolved to visit the Dragon King of the Eastern Sea and obtain this weapon. The Dragon King heard of Wukong's various misdeeds. In order to avoid offending him, he reluctantly introduced Wukong to the divine weapons he possessed, but none of them caught Wukong's eye. Feeling embarrassed, the Dragon King then presented to Wukong the most powerful weapon in the entire Dragon Palace, the Rui Jiangu Bong, a golden cudgel weighing around 7.5 tons. It is said that the Rui Jiangu Bong was a divine treasure made of heavenly iron left behind by Yu the Great during his efforts to control the floods, and it was crafted by the Supreme Elder Lord. Sun Wukong was delighted upon hearing this. The Dragon King told him that if he could take away the golden cudgel, it would be his. This statement implied that the Dragon King doubted Wukong's ability to successfully take the golden cudgel away. However, Wukong demonstrated his unparalleled ability. He could change the size of the Rui Jiangu Bong at will. He shrunk it down to the size of an embroidery needle and hid it in his ear. The Dragon King instantly regretted his words, but he couldn't stop Wukong. He could only watch helplessly as Wukong defeated his shrimp soldiers and crab generals and left the Dragon Palace. Due to Wukong taking the Rui Jiangu Bong, severe floods occurred on the ground. The Dragon King harbored resentment and reported to the Heavenly Court, blaming Wukong for the disaster and requesting the Jade Emperor to apprehend him. When the Jade Emperor hesitated, Tai by Jinchi advised against provoking Sun Wukong, noting that he was born from celestial stone and belonged to the immortal realm, not an ordinary monkey. It was best to avoid antagonizing him if possible. When Sun Wukong reached the age of 342, his lifespan came to an end, and he was apprehended by the underworld emissaries and taken to the underworld. Despite Wukong's pleading, the just and impartial King Yama refused to grant him clemency, which angered Wukong. He rampaged through the underworld, injuring numerous underworld emissaries and burning the Book of Life and Death, which controls the fate of all beings, in order to secure eternal life for himself and his monkey subjects. King Yama reported Sun Wukong's havoc in the underworld to the Heavenly Court, and the Jade Emperor was furious with Wukong's repeated misdeeds. However, just as he was about to launch a punitive expedition against Wukong, Tai by Jinchi suggested that instead of making an enemy, they should recruit Wukong into the Heavenly Court. Thus, the Jade Emperor decided to offer Wukong a position in heaven. Sun Wukong was summoned to heaven by the Jade Emperor and deceived into accepting the position of Bima Wun. Believing Bima Wun to be a high-ranking title, Wukong gladly accepted. 15 days later, he discovered that the position merely involved tending horses. Enraged, Wukong stormed out of the southern heavenly gate and returned to Flowers and Fruit Mountain. There, following the advice of the Monkey Horde and Demon Kings, Wukong declared himself the Great Sage equal to heaven, a title that would echo throughout the heavens and earth. Tai by Jinchi once again suggested bringing Wukong back, believing that Wukong's anger stemmed from his dissatisfaction with the lowly position. He proposed that they offer Wukong a nominal but prestigious title this time, the Great Sage equal to heaven. Upon hearing that heaven was bestowing upon him the title of Great Sage equal to heaven, Sun Wukong gladly accepted and was assigned to oversee the Peaches of Immortality Garden. Accustomed to an adventurous life, Wukong could not settle for a routine existence. Rebellious by nature, he not only neglected his duties in the Peaches of Immortality Garden, but also began stealing and eating the peaches and drinking the celestial wine. He even went so far as to steal the Supreme Elder Lord's elixirs. Ultimately, he disrupted the Queen Mother's peach banquet, causing a great calamity. The Jade Emperor was utterly enraged and ordered Li Jing, the pagoda-bearing Heavenly King, to lead an army of 100,000 celestial soldiers to capture the demon monkey, Sun Wukong. Wukong consecutively defeated numerous divine generals, including 5 heavenly kings, giant spirit god, and Neza the third prince. He also used his cloning technique to overcome the 100,000 celestial soldiers. The defeated celestial soldiers returned to heaven. This battle made Sun Wukong famous throughout the world. Unwilling to concede, the Jade Emperor sent his nephew, Earl Longshan, to capture Sun Wukong. Earl Longshan led his troops to Flowers and Fruit Mountain and battled Wukong for 300 rounds, with neither gaining the upper hand. In the end, the rear of Flowers and Fruit Mountain was left undefended, allowing celestial soldiers to set the mountain ablaze. With the lives of his monkey subjects in peril, Wukong lost his will to fight and was captured. After being captured, Wukong was brought to the demon-slaying platform for execution. However, because he had previously consumed the Supreme Elder Lord's elixirs, his body had turned into an indestructible form. Consequently, all forms of punishment were ineffective against him. In the end, the Supreme Elder Lord placed him into the alchemy furnace for 49 days. Contrary to the intended effect, this ordeal granted Wukong a pair of fiery golden eyes, enabling him to see through the true forms of all demons. Wukong was not turned to ashes, but instead kicked over the alchemy furnace, sending the Supreme Elder Lord tumbling head over heels. He then caused havoc in heaven once more, wielding his Rui Jingu Bong and defeating all deities in his path. He fought his way to the Hall of Perfect Brilliance, where he confronted the Jade Emperor. Amidst the fierce battle, the Buddha appeared. Wukong, failing in his contest of powers with the Buddha, ultimately could not escape the Buddha's grasp and was trapped under the Five Fingers Mountain. There was once a monk who was originally the second disciple of the Buddha. However, because he dozed off during one of the Buddha's sermons, he was seen as disrespectful to Buddhism and was banished to the mortal world, reincarnated and born in the Tang dynasty of East China. He was destined to endure 81 trials before obtaining the sacred scriptures from the Western heaven. On his journey to the west to retrieve the scriptures, the monk took on 3 strange disciples to protect him: a highly skilled monkey, a lazy pig, and a diligent fish monster. This monk was none other than the kind-hearted and very handsome Tang Shanzang. Tang Shanzang, whose Dharma name is Shenzang and Dharma title is Shanzang, or well known in Western countries primarily as Tang Shanzang. He is a key character in Journey to the West. with the plot centered around his journey to the Western Heaven to obtain sacred scriptures. In his previous life, Tharng Shanzang was the Buddha's second disciple, Jinchi. Due to dozing off during one of the Buddha's teachings, which was seen as disrespectful to Buddhism, he was banished to the mortal world. Reincarnating in the Tang dynasty, Tharng Shanzang's father, Chen Guangrui, was a top scholar, and his mother, Wen Jiao, was the daughter of the prime minister of the Tang dynasty. His father was handsome, and his mother was exceptionally beautiful. So Tharng Shanzang inherited their looks and grew up to be very handsome himself. When Tharng Shanzang was still an infant, his parents were murdered, and he was eventually raised by the abbot of Jinsan Temple. As he grew older, Tharng Shanzang became a monk at Jinsan Temple and took the Dharma name Sanzang. One year, the abbot was invited by Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty to conduct a memorial ceremony. The abbot brought Tharng Shanzang and other disciples with him to the capital, where Tharng Shanzang met the emperor. This encounter planted the seed for his future journey to the west to obtain the sacred scriptures. Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty was long haunted by the restless spirit of the Jinchi Dragon King. The cause of this haunting was a bet between the Dragon King and a fortune teller named Yun So-chung. The Dragon King had heard that there was a powerful fortune teller in the Tang dynasty who could predict the exact times when it would rain and when it would stop. As the one in charge of rainfall in the Tang dynasty, the Dragon King was naturally skeptical. He believed that if he decided not to make it rain, no matter how skilled Yun So-chung was, he wouldn't be able to predict it correctly. The Jinchi Dragon King, disguising himself as a scholar in white robes, went to Chang'an City to confront Yun So-chung. He demanded that Yuan predict the exact time and amount of rainfall for the next day, threatening to expel him from the city if he was wrong. Yun So-chung, unfazed, accurately predicted the time and amount of rain for the following day. The proud Dragon King then revealed his true form and mocked Yuan, confident that he would lose this time, before returning to his dragon palace. Little did he know that a decree from the heavenly court had suddenly been issued, instructing the Dragon King to bring rain the next day, at the exact time, and with the precise amount that Yun So-chung had predicted. Unwilling to admit defeat, the Jinchi Dragon King, for the sake of his pride, decided to follow the bad advice of his advisor, the Turtle Prime Minister. He secretly altered the time and amount of rainfall, thereby violating the heavenly laws. Afterward, the Dragon King hurried back to Yun So-chung to gloat that he had miscalculated. However, Yuan's response chilled the Dragon King. Yuan told him that his doom was near because the heavenly court had discovered his unauthorized changes to the rain schedule. The Jade Emperor had already sent enforcers to capture the Dragon King and bring him back for execution. Only then did the Jinchi Dragon King panic, regretting his impulsive actions. He immediately fell to his knees, begging Yun So-chung to save his life. Yuan sighed and said, "It's useless to beg me. Tomorrow at the third quarter of noon, you will be executed by Wei Zheng. Wei Zheng is the current prime minister. If you can plead for help from Emperor Taizong, you might have a chance to survive." After thanking Yun So-chung, the Dragon King hurried to the palace to seek help from Emperor. Seeing the Dragon King's desperate pleas, the Emperor felt pity and agreed to help him. "Since it's Wei Zheng who will carry out the execution, I can save you. Rest assured and go in peace." With that, the Dragon King, reassured, expressed his gratitude and disappeared. Emperor Taizong pondered the Dragon King's request and, after much consideration, decided to keep Wei Zheng by his side for a day. playing chess with him to ensure that Wei Zheng would miss the time scheduled for the Dragon King's execution. Wei Zheng, aware of the Emperor's intention, pretended to fall asleep during the game. His soul then left his body, returned to the heavenly court, and executed the Dragon King. The Jinghe Dragon King died with a grudge, believing that Emperor Taizong had broken his promise and failed to save him. After his death, the Dragon King turned into a vengeful spirit and began haunting Emperor Taizong, appearing in his dreams every night with his blood-soaked head. He would pounce on the Emperor, grabbing his hand and shouting his name, "Li Shimin, give me back my life. Give me back my life." Unable to sleep well night after night, Emperor Taizong decided to seek help from the abbot of Jinshan Temple, asking him to perform a ritual to appease the restless spirit of the Dragon King. The abbot of Jinshan Temple, along with a group of monks, chanted scriptures to appease the restless spirit of the Jinghe Dragon King. However, the Dragon King's resentment was so deep that the abbot's efforts were ineffective. Just as the Dragon King was about to harm Emperor Taizong, Tang Shanzang bravely stepped forward to protect the Emperor. He managed to console and guide the Dragon King, eventually leading the monks in successfully appeasing the Dragon King's spirit and helping it move on. Because Tang Shanzang saved Emperor Taizong's life, the Emperor and Tang Shanzang became sworn brothers, and Emperor Taizong appointed him to preside over the Grand Water and Land Dharma Assembly. 7 days later, the assembly was held as scheduled, and Tang Shanzang delivered a sermon. During the event, Guanyin disguised herself as a beggar and interrupted Tang Shanzang's sermon. The guards, mistaking Guanyin for a troublemaker, apprehended her and brought her before Emperor Taizong. Guanyin then revealed to the emperor that Tang Shanzang was preaching the lesser vehicle of Buddhism, which could only offer limited salvation. To truly help souls ascend, Tang Shanzang would need to journey to the Western Heaven to obtain the greater vehicle of Buddhist scriptures. Guanyin's words deeply moved Tang Shanzang. He realized that if he wanted to save all beings, he needed to journey to the Western Heaven to obtain the scriptures. Resolute in his decision, he set off. Knowing that Tang Shanzang was determined, Emperor Taizong issued an imperial decree for him to embark on the journey and bestowed upon him the title Shanzang, which is the origin of Tang Shanzang's name. Tang Shanzang vowed to burn incense at every temple, pay respects to every Buddha he encountered, and sweep every stupa along the way. After bidding farewell to Emperor Taizong and the monks of Jinshan Temple, he began his journey westward. Upon reaching Songcha Ridge, Tang Shanzang and his companions were captured by 3 yokai: the tiger yokai Yinjiangjin, the bear yokai Shongsanjun, and the ox yokai Tuachu. His companions were killed by the yokai, but Tang Shanzang was fortunately saved by the transformation of Taibai Jinxing, avoiding further disaster. This was the first trial that Tang Shanzang faced on his journey to the west. And there are many more challenges ahead for him. I'll be creating more videos about their adventures in Journey to the West, so be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any updates. Thank you. While fleeing in desperation, Tang Shanzang was surrounded by venomous insects and wild beasts in the mountains. Fortunately, he encountered a hunter who was out hunting. After the hunter drove away the beasts, he escorted Tang Shanzang to the foot of Five Fingers Mountain before parting ways with him. Upon arriving at Five Fingers Mountain, Tang Shanzang heard Sun Wukong shouting "Master" from beneath the mountain. Tang Sanzang approached and, at Sun Wukong's request, removed the 6-character golden talisman left by the Buddha, freeing Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong then pledged himself as Tang Sanzang's disciple and was given the alias Xingjura. The two set off together, but they soon encountered 6 robbers who blocked their path. Sun Wukong defeated them all, killing them. Tang Sanzang criticized Sun Wukong for his lack of compassion, which led Sun Wukong to become irritated and fly away on his cloud. Tang Sanzang, left alone, continued on his journey and met Guanyin disguised as an old woman, who gave him the Golden Hoop spell. With guidance from the Dragon King of the East Sea, Sun Wukong returned to protect Tang Sanzang. Tang Sanzang tricked Sun Wukong into wearing the Golden Hoop and recited the spell, causing Sun Wukong great pain. This experience made Sun Wukong resolutely follow Tang Sanzang on his journey westward, and this marks the beginning of their legendary journey.
On Tang Sanzang's journey from the eastern land of the Tang dynasty to the western heaven to obtain the scriptures, he took on 3 disciples. The powerful first disciple Sun Wukong, the lazy and gluttonous second disciple Zhu Bajie, and the diligent third disciple Sha Wujing. However, before he accepted Zhu Bajie, he had already taken on a true second disciple. Although this disciple rarely achieved anything remarkable, his presence was always noticeable. This hidden second disciple was none other than the third son of the Dragon King, Aole. Aole, the third son of the Dragon King of the Western Sea, is also known as Xiao Bailong. One day, while playing carelessly, he accidentally set fire to a pearl bestowed by the Jade Emperor. This act violated the laws of heaven, resulting in a death sentence. To avoid being implicated, the Dragon King reported the incident to the Jade Emperor, and Xiao Bailong was condemned to be executed by beheading. In the TV series, Xiao Bailong's story includes an added twist. On his wedding night, he discovered that his new bride was involved with another man. Enraged, Xiao Bailong attempted to kill the adulterer but was unable to defeat him. In the end, he vented his anger by setting fire to his bridal chamber, which led to the burning of the pearl bestowed by the Jade Emperor. This act violated the laws of heaven, resulting in a death sentence. Although the circumstances differ, the common thread is that he was punished for burning the pearl given by the Jade Emperor. Fortunately, Xiao Bailong was saved by Guanyin, who intervened on his behalf. The Jade Emperor then pardoned Xiao Bailong's death sentence. After rescuing him, Guanyin instructed Xiao Bailong to wait for the monk who would journey to the west and assist him in obtaining the sacred scriptures. Xiao Bailong accepted the mission given to him by Guanyin and began waiting at Eagle Grief Stream for Tang Sanzang's arrival. One day, a hungry Xiao Bailong ventured into the valley in search of food. He came across a horse and swallowed it whole, unaware that this horse belonged to Tang Sanzang. Having unknowingly eaten Tang Sanzang's horse, Xiao Bailong was soon chased down by Sun Wukong. After a few rounds of fighting, Xiao Bailong realized he couldn't defeat Sun Wukong and fled into the river to hide. Frustrated and unable to swim, Sun Wukong stomped his feet in anger but was helpless to do anything. Later, Sun Wukong sought Guanyin's help and learned that Xiao Bailong was also part of Guanyin's plan to accompany Tang Sanzang on the journey to the west. Guanyin then transformed Xiao Bailong, trimming his horns and shedding his scales, turning him into the white dragon horse. He converted to Buddhism and became Tang Sanzang's loyal steed, enduring countless hardships along the journey. This is the true identity of the white dragon horse that carried Tang Sanzang. Tang Sanzang also accepted Xiao Bailong as his disciple, making him the second disciple, even before Zhu Bajie. As the senior brother to Zhu Bajie and Sha Wujing, Xiao Bailong didn't have many notable deeds compared to his three brothers. So over time, his presence was largely forgotten. Most people only remember the journey to the West team as consisting of Tang Sanzang and his three disciples, with few remembering the white dragon horse. Some joke about why Xiao Bailong never participated in battles between his senior brothers and the Yokai. The reason, they say, lies in the different role Guanyin assigned to him compared to his senior brothers. When Guanyin enlisted Sun Wukong, Zhu Bajie, and Sha Wujing, she tasked them with staying by Tang Sanzang's side to protect him, essentially acting as bodyguards. But Xiao Bailong's role was different. Guanyin assigned him to be the means of transport for the scripture seeker, a simple steed. Perhaps Guanyin didn't instruct Xiao Bailong to use force to protect Tang Sanzang, so he simply avoided those strenuous tasks. Whenever Yokai appeared, Xiao Bailong either ran away with Tang Sanzang or stood at a distance, never participating in the battles. As a result, he has a minimal presence in Journey to the West. In Journey to the West, it's mentioned that Xiao Bailong mistakenly ate Tang Sanzang's horse. This can be interpreted as a sign of fate, suggesting that Xiao Bailong was destined to become Tang Sanzang's steed, the white dragon horse. Perhaps Xiao Bailong didn't simply accidentally consume the horse but was instead fulfilling a predetermined destiny. As Tang Sanzang could not possibly need two horses, right?
When Tang Sanzang set out from the Tang dynasty to journey west for the scriptures, Guanyin gave him two sacred treasures, a jeweled kasaya and a 9-ringed staff. As they passed near Black Wind Mountain, Sun Wukong, mischievous as ever, played with his master's jeweled kasaya. The kasaya shone with a golden light, catching the attention of a nearby black Bear Guai, who immediately set his sights on stealing it. 6 miles from Black Wind Mountain stood Guanyin Temple, overseen by an elderly monk, Elder Jinchi. Although he was a monk, Elder Jinchi was infatuated with wealth and luxury. He had lavishly decorated Guanyin Temple with various extravagant items, clearly straying far from the pure and simple life expected of monks. Sun Wukong and Tang Sanzang passed by Guanyin Temple and decided to stay for the night. Tang Sanzang explained their purpose to the monks at the temple. Upon hearing that Tang Sanzang had come all the way from the Tang dynasty, the monks dared not be negligent and quickly invited their abbot, Elder Jinchi, to greet him. Elder Jinchi welcomed Tang Sanzang and Sun Wukong. As he looked them over, he noticed that neither appeared particularly wealthy, and he immediately felt a sense of superiority. While hosting Tang Sanzang, he took the opportunity to boast about the temple's various luxurious items, such as teapots and cups, subtly belittling Tang Sanzang in his casual conversation. Elder Jinchi's disdain for Tang Sanzang's actions infuriated Sun Wukong. When Elder Jinchi boasted about his age of 270 years, Tang Sanzang expressed astonishment, while Sun Wukong scoffed, saying that such an age only warranted him the status of a grandson. Elder Jinchi had never been ridiculed like this before, and suppressing his anger, he asked Tang Sanzang if he had brought any treasures from the Tang dynasty, secretly hoping to mock their apparent poverty. Tang Sanzang explained that their purpose was to travel west for the scriptures and that they had brought no treasures with them. Unable to tolerate Elder Jinchi's arrogance, Sun Wukong interjected, mentioning that his master possessed a treasure, the jeweled kasaya given to him by Guanyin. Upon hearing about the kasaya, Elder Jinchi smugly claimed to have nearly 1,000 kasayas in his collection, insisting there was none he had not seen. He then ordered his disciples to take Tang Sanzang and Sun Wukong to his treasure vault to admire his kasayas. Upon arriving at Elder Jinchi's treasure vault, he proudly began to showcase his collection of kasayas. However, Sun Wukong dismissed them with disdain. Ignoring his master's warnings, he insisted on bringing out Tharng Shanzhang's jeweled kasaya for Elder Jinchi to see. As soon as the kasaya was revealed, its radiant golden light mesmerized Elder Jinchi. Elder Jinchi held the kasaya in his hands, refusing to return it to Tharng Shanzang. He repeatedly begged Tharng Shanzang to lend it to him for just one night, promising to return it the next day. Reluctantly, Tharng Shanzang, aware that he needed to stay the night, agreed to Elder Jinchi's request. That night, as Elder Jinchi admired the jeweled kasaya, he lamented why he didn't possess such a beautiful garment. At that moment, one of his disciples, Guangzhu, hatched a sinister plan. He suggested that if Tharng Shanzang and Sun Wukong were to accidentally die in a fire, then the kasaya would rightfully belong to Elder Jinchi. To claim the kasaya for himself, Elder Jinchi tacitly agreed to Guangzhu's treacherous scheme. Guangzhu and his fellow disciple, Guangmo, instructed the other monks to bring kerosene to the meditation hall where Tharng Shanzang was staying and pour it around the area. The monks carried out their plan stealthily, but the commotion was noticed by the white dragon horse, who warned Sun Wukong from a distance. Sensing something was amiss, Sun Wukong transformed into a monk to infiltrate their ranks and gather information about their plot. Upon discovering that Elder Jinchi planned to set fire to kill him and his master to possess the jeweled kasaya, an enraged Sun Wukong flew to the heavenly palace to borrow the fire-repelling hood from the heavenly king Guangmo. He then placed the hood over the meditation hall where Tharng Shanzang was sleeping. The fire quickly spiraled out of control. Initially, the monks only intended to burn down the hall where Tharng Shanzang was, but the blaze grew so intense that it engulfed the entire Guanyin temple. The meditation hall protected by the hood remained completely unharmed. Guangzhu urgently approached Elder Jinchi, urging him to escape. In the chaos, however, Elder Jinchi realized that the jeweled kasaya had vanished without a trace. After losing both his Guanyin temple and the jeweled kasaya, Elder Jinchi was overwhelmed with shame. Unable to cope, he tragically took his own life, ultimately being consumed by the flames. A once great monk lost his life due to his greed. The jeweled kasaya was stolen by the Black Bear Guai, who had targeted him from the start, and the Black Bear Guai was actually friends with Elder Jinchi. Elder Jinchi's ability to live to 270 years old may have been due to the longevity spells taught to him by the Black Bear Guai. In Black Myth Wukong, Elder Jinchi encounters the Black Bear Guai in his youth. Instead of devouring him, the Black Bear Guai gives him a bag of gold and silver treasures, possibly sparking Elder Jinchi's greed at that moment. The fire at Guanyin Temple spiraled out of control, not due to a miscalculation by the monks, but because Sun Wukong later admitted to Tharng Shanzang that he had fanned the flames. Perhaps, at that moment, Sun Wukong still lacked a compassionate heart. He would repay others' ill treatment with even greater severity. Tharng Shanzang aimed to cultivate Sun Wukong's compassion, but at that time, there was still a long way to go. Did you know that the tightening band on Sun Wukong's head is actually one of 3 bands given by the Buddha to Guanyin? Besides the tightening band, there are also the gold band and the restraining band. These 3 represent the Buddhist concepts of greed, anger, and ignorance, each associated with a specific incantation known as the 3 tightening spells. Guanyin taught one of these spells, the tightening spell, to Tharng Shanzang and placed the tightening band on Sun Wukong's head, allowing Tharng Shanzang to control him. The gold band was given to the Red Boy, while the restraining band was given to Black Bear Guai. Sun Wukong and Sanzang passed by Guanyin Temple and asked the abbot, Elder Jinchi, if they could stay for the night. Greedy Elder Jinchi coveted the jeweled kasaya that Guanyin had bestowed upon Sanzang. Following his disciple Guangzer's sinister plan, he set fire to the meditation hall where Sanzang was staying, intending to make it appear as though Sun Wukong and Sanzang had died in the blaze, allowing him to claim the kasaya for himself. When Sun Wukong discovered Elder Jinchi's treacherous plot, he flew to the heavenly court and borrowed a fire-repelling hood from the heavenly king Guangmu. He then placed the hood over the meditation hall where Sanzang was sleeping. Finally, Sun Wukong fanned the flames, causing the fire to spread uncontrollably from Sanzang's meditation hall to the entire Guanyin Temple. 20 miles from Guanyin Temple lies Black Wind Mountain, where a demon named Bear Guai resides in a cave called Black Wind Cave. From the mountain, one can view the entire Guanyin Temple, so when the temple caught fire, Bear Guai's underlings immediately informed him. Elder Jinchi had known Bear Guai since his youth, and the secret to his longevity, living to 270 years old, might have been taught to him by Bear Guai. Seeing the fire at Guanyin Temple, Bear Guai was immediately concerned for his friend Elder Jinchi's safety. He flew to the temple to help extinguish the flames. However, when he pushed open the door to Elder Jinchi's room, he was surprised to find the elder asleep, draped in the jeweled kasaya. From the moment Sun Wukong and Sanzang set foot on Black Wind Mountain, Bear Guai had spotted Sun Wukong playing with the jeweled kasaya. At that time, he already desired the kasaya but refrained from taking action, as he was unsure of Sun Wukong's strength. However, when he saw the coveted kasaya in Elder Jinchi's room, greed overcame him, and he abandoned his attempt to extinguish the fire, taking the opportunity to steal the kasaya. Later, Guanyin Temple was completely destroyed by the flames. Elder Jinchi, devastated by the loss of the jeweled kasaya, could not bear the despair and ended up taking his own life, ultimately perishing in the fire. Bear Guai enjoyed discussing Buddhist teachings, meditation, and alchemy. After obtaining the jeweled kasaya, he invited his demon friends, White-Clad Noble and Ling Shijie, to share insights on alchemy. He planned to host a Buddha robe gathering in honor of the kasaya on the day before his birthday. While they were discussing the event, Sun Wukong, who was searching for the stolen kasaya, discovered that Bear Guai was indeed the thief and immediately attacked with his Rui Jingu barn. The white-clad noble was killed on the spot, while Bear Guai and Ling Shijie transformed into the wind and escaped. Sun Wukong pursued them to Black Wind Cave, where he called for the cave doors to open and fought Bear Guai for over a dozen rounds, with neither gaining the upper hand. As noon approached, Bear Guai used the excuse of needing to eat lunch to retreat into the cave, closing the doors behind him. He then arranged a feast and wrote invitations to summon the demon kings from the nearby mountains to attend the Buddha robe gathering. Meanwhile, Sun Wukong returned to Guanyin Temple to report the situation to Sanzang. Unaware that Elder Jinchi had already taken his own life, Bear Guai wrote an invitation for him as well. When the messenger demon went to deliver the invitation at Guanyin Temple, he ran into Sun Wukong, who killed him with a single strike. After reading the invitation, Sun Wukong disguised himself as Elder Jinchi and headed straight for Black Wind Cave. When Bear Guai saw Jinchi arriving so quickly, he suspected that Sun Wukong might have sent Elder Jinchi to demand the return of the kasaya. He instructed the smaller demons to hide the kasaya and began talking with the disguised Jinchi. However, A patrolling demon discovered the body of the messenger demon and quickly informed Black Bear Guai that the Jinchi before him was actually Sun Wukong in disguise. Realizing the deception, Black Bear Guai grabbed a spear and attacked Sun Wukong, who pulled out his Rui Jingu barn from his ear and fought back. The two battled fiercely from the cave entrance to the mountaintop and then high up into the clouds. As evening approached, Black Bear Guai used the darkness as an excuse to call a truce and retreated back into the cave, where he locked himself inside, leaving Sun Wukong unable to break through the entrance. After failing twice to retrieve the jeweled kasaya, Sun Wukong feared being scolded by Tang Sanzang, so he went to the southern sea to seek help from Guanyin. The two of them returned to Black Wind Mountain, where they happened to encounter Ling Shijie carrying 2 elixirs on a glass tray, on his way to the Buddha robe gathering. Sun Wukong killed him with a single strike, ate one of the elixirs, and then asked Guanyin to transform into Ling Shijie, while he disguised himself as one of the elixirs on the tray. The disguised Ling Shijie presented the elixirs to Black Bear Guai, who, unaware of the trick, swallowed the Sun Wukong transformed elixir. Once inside Black Bear Guai's stomach, Sun Wukong began to cause havoc, making the demons suffer immense pain. Black Bear Guai, overwhelmed with agony, knelt down and begged for mercy. Guanyin then revealed her true form and placed the restraining band on Black Bear Guai's head, persuading him to embrace the Buddhist path. Black Bear Guai agreed, and Guanyin performed a blessing on him, ordaining him as a guardian deity and taking him to Mount Luojia to serve as the mountain's protector. Sun Wukong successfully retrieved the jeweled kasaya and returned it to Tang Sanzang. The two then continued their journey to the western heaven to fetch the scriptures. Their next destination would be Gao village in the Wushu country, where Tang Sanzang would meet his next disciple, Zhu Bajie. Black Bear Guai had a deep appreciation for Buddhist teachings, and his desire to possess the kasaya, a sacred Buddhist robe, was driven by greed. However, this also indicated that his nature wasn't entirely evil. He merely needed guidance. That's why Guanyin didn't eliminate him, but instead subdued him, placed a restraining band on his head, and appointed him as the guardian of Mount Luojia. In Journey to the West, White-Clad Noble and Ling Shijie had minor roles, appearing briefly as demons who were swiftly defeated by Sun Wukong. However, in Black Myth Wukong, they've been reimagined as boss characters encountered during the game, which serves as a tribute to them. In contrast, Black Bear Guai is the final boss of the level, reflecting his greater significance in the story. In Journey to the West, there is a marshal who holds a high position in the Celestial Court, responsible for overseeing the Heavenly River with 80,000 celestial soldiers under his command. However, he frequently gets into trouble due to his drinking. His lustful nature leads him to commit a grave sin, resulting in the Jade Emperor banishing him to the mortal world to be reincarnated. Worse still, he loses his way during the reincarnation process and ends up in the animal realm, becoming a pig. This character is none other than the comedic figure in Journey to the West, Zhu Bajie. Zhu Bajie was originally the Marshal Tian Peng under the Jade Emperor in the Celestial Court, responsible for managing the Heavenly River and commanding 80,000 celestial soldiers. Arrogant and proud, he looked down upon many gods with lower ranks, including Sun Wukong, who was then serving as the Bima Wun. Zhu Bajie's rise to the position of marshal attests to his formidable martial skills, which were a source of his pride. However, despite his prowess, he was no match for Sun Wukong. His disdain for Sun Wukong led to a fierce battle between them, resulting in his defeat. This experience left him fearful of Sun Wukong even after becoming his junior disciple. Zhu Bajie had a fondness for drinking and beautiful women, and he often caused trouble due to his drinking. Once, at the Queen Mother's peach banquet, Zhu Bajie got drunk and stumbled into the Moon Palace. There, he saw Chang'er and was struck by her beauty, his mortal desires stirring. In his drunken state, Zhu Bajie insisted that Chang'er accompany him. Naturally, she refused, which angered Zhu Bajie, and his voice grew louder. Hearing the commotion, the celestial patrol officer led the gods to surround the Moon Palace and capture Zhu Bajie. Subsequently, the Jade Emperor sentenced him to death according to the law. Simply flirting with a woman led to a death sentence in the celestial court. Compared to Sun Wukong, who was only imprisoned under Five-Finger Mountain after wreaking havoc in the Heavenly Palace, Zhu Bajie, a marshal, was sentenced to death merely for drunkenly flirting with a beauty. This seems extremely unjust. Later, with the intervention of Taibai Jinxing, Zhu Bajie was spared the death penalty. The Jade Emperor instead sentenced him to 2,000 blows with a staff and banished him to the mortal world. Worse still, during his reincarnation process, Zhu Bajie lost his way and ended up in the animal realm, being reborn as a pig. Subsequently, Zhu Bajie arrived at the Cloud Pathway Cave on Mount Fuling and became the live-in husband of the cave's mistress, Lady Luan. Within less than a year, Lady Luan passed away due to illness, and Zhu Bajie inherited her property. However, because of his enormous appetite, he soon consumed all the inherited wealth and ended up resorting to eating humans to survive on Mount Fuling. Guanyin, following the instructions of the Buddha, set out for Chang'an in the Tang dynasty to find a scripture seeker. When passing by Mount Fuling, Zhu Bajie rushed out to attack Guanyin. Guanyin's guardian, Muza, intercepted Zhu Bajie, and they started to fight fiercely. As the battle reached a stalemate, Guanyin dropped a lotus flower, which separated Zhu Bajie's rake. Zhu Bajie, not knowing what power it was informed by Muza that it was Guanyin's lotus flower. Realizing this, Zhu Bajie threw down his rake and kowtowed to Guanyin. Upon Guanyin's inquiry, Zhu Bajie revealed his background and history. Guanyin advised Zhu Bajie to turn towards goodness and convert to Buddhism, but Zhu Bajie expressed that his large appetite made him rely on eating humans to survive. Guanyin pointed out that eating grains could also fill his stomach. Realizing this, Zhu Bajie agreed to convert. Guanyin gave him the Buddhist name Zhu Wunong and instructed him to stay there. Maintain a vegetarian diet, abstain from eating meat, and wait for the scripture seeker. The days waiting for the scripture seeker on Mount Fuling were unbearably lonely for Zhu Bajie. Unable to endure the solitude, he transformed into a refined-looking chubby man and went to Gao Laozhuang in Wusu country to marry Gao Taigong's third daughter, Gao Chuilan. Zhu Bajie diligently worked in Gao Taigong's household, plowing fields without needing oxen, harvesting crops without knives or sticks, and returning early and late every day, earnestly serving the Gao family. However, not long after, he accidentally reverted to his monstrous appearance with a long snout and large ears. Gao Taigong believed that marrying a yokai as a son-in-law would not only damage his reputation but also stir gossip among relatives and friends, thus he decided to annul the marriage. Zhu Bajie refused to divorce, so he kept Gao Chuilan locked in the rear courtyard, preventing her from meeting Gao Taigong's family members. Gao Taigong then spent money to invite monks and Taoists from all around to exorcise Zhu Bajie, but even after inviting 4 or 5 people consecutively, none could exorcise him. Just as Gao Taigong's steward sought help again, they coincidentally encountered Tharng Shanzang and Sun Wukong passing by Gao Laozhuang in Wusu country. Sun Wukong and Tharng Shanzang arrived at Gao Taigong's house, where they learned about the situation. That night, Sun Wukong transformed into the appearance of Gao Chuilan and waited in the rear courtyard for Zhu Bajie. When Zhu Bajie arrived, unaware that the figure lying in bed was actually Sun Wukong disguised as Gao Chuilan, he immediately embraced and kissed her. Sun Wukong deftly stopped Zhu Bajie's kiss and used a technique to bring him crashing down onto the bed. Sun Wukong revealed his true form, prompting Zhu Bajie to hastily transform into wind and flee. Sun Wukong pursued relentlessly, leading to a chase back to the Cloud Pathway cave on Mount Fuling. There, Zhu Bajie retrieved his weapon, the nine-toothed rake, preparing to confront Sun Wukong. Mocking the rake as resembling a farming tool, Sun Wukong scoffed, while Zhu Bajie proudly proclaimed it to be a divine weapon forged by the Supreme Elder Lord. Zhu Bajie and Sun Wukong battled fiercely, with Zhu Bajie eventually succumbing to Sun Wukong's superior strength. Unable to defeat Sun Wukong, Zhu Bajie asked how he ended up here instead of Flower Fruit Mountain. Sun Wukong explained that he had come to protect Tharng Shanzang on his journey to the west to retrieve scriptures, passing through this place. Upon hearing this, Zhu Bajie realized that the awaited scripture seeker had finally arrived. He then set fire to Cloud Pathway Cave and went with Sun Wukong to meet Tharng Shanzang. Guanyin had previously instructed Zhu Bajie to protect Tharng Shanzang on his journey to retrieve the scriptures, so Tharng Shanzang asked him to acknowledge Sun Wukong as his senior disciple. Before this, Zhu Bajie had already refrained from meat and had observed dietary restrictions. After becoming a disciple of Sun Wukong, he asked Tharng Shanzang for permission to eat meat. But Tharng Shanzang refused and gave him the name Bajie, which is how Zhu Bajie got his name. From then on, Zhu Bajie accompanied Tharng Shanzang and Sun Wukong on their journey to the west to retrieve the scriptures. Despite often wanting to give up and frequently clashing with Wukong along the way, Zhu Bajie always came through in crucial moments to overcome obstacles. He was truly the joyful character in the team. The journey to the west to obtain the scriptures was fraught with numerous challenges. It was destined that Tharng Shanzang and his companions would face 81 trials before reaching their destination. Is it possible that some of these trials were comically resolved by Zhu Bajie? In Journey to the West, there's a lesser-known demon, just a minor commander under the powerful Yellow Wind Sage. Aside from his name, most people don't remember him, since he was quickly defeated by Sun Wukong. But surprisingly, this small-time character exploded in popularity thanks to a video game, Black Myth Wukong. After Tharng Shanzang took Zhu Bajie as his second disciple in Gao Laozhuang, the group bid farewell to the villagers and resumed their journey westward to retrieve the Buddhist scriptures. A few days later, they arrived at a desolate and dangerous place, Yellow Wind Ridge. The ridge was steep and treacherous, covered in thorny bushes and broken branches, making travel extremely difficult. Fierce winds howled through the mountains, kicking up clouds of yellow dust that blotted out the sky. Even Sun Wukong's fiery golden eyes struggled to see clearly. Dead trees creaked in the wind, sounding like whispers from vengeful spirits. It sent chills down their spines. It was said that hidden deep within Yellow Wind Ridge was the Yellow Wind Cave, home to a fearsome demon, a yellow-furred weasel who had cultivated powers at the foot of Spirit Mountain. This demon could summon fierce winds and sandstorms, and the gusts he unleashed were no ordinary gales. They were Samadhi divine winds, powerful and deadly. Just as the group struggled forward, a violent gust suddenly swept through the forest, followed by distant beastly roars. From the woods leapt a fearsome demon, with the face of a tiger, fangs bared, and wielding a massive iron trident. Radiating a fierce and menacing aura, he was none other than the Tiger Vanguard, a mighty general under the Yellow Wind Sage who ruled Yellow Wind Ridge. The Tiger Vanguard blocked their path, shouting arrogantly and boasting wildly that he would feast on Sanzang's flesh. Enraged by the threat, Zhu Bajie raised his nine-toothed rake and charged forward, engaging the demon in fierce combat. The two clashed violently, their battle shaking the mountains and stirring up clouds of dust. The Tiger Vanguard was incredibly strong, his attacks ferocious, and for a time, Bajie couldn't gain the upper hand. Watching from the side, Sun Wukong quickly realized that this demon was no ordinary foe. Concerned that Bajie might get hurt, he leapt into the fray to assist. With Wukong joining the fight, the tide immediately turned. The Tiger Vanguard began to retreat step by step, snarling with fury, but deliberately luring them deeper into the mountains. Wukong, hot-tempered and impatient, suspected nothing and chased after him, with Bajie close behind. Unbeknownst to them, this was all part of the Tiger Vanguard's carefully laid trap. At the end of the mountain path, the Tiger Vanguard quickly laid a tiger pelt, prepared in advance, over a large boulder and pretended to transform into it. Then, in a flash, he turned into a violent gust of wind and vanished into the forest. Blinded by the swirling sand, Wukong and Bajie didn't immediately realize that the Tiger Vanguard before them was nothing more than a boulder draped with a tiger pelt. It wasn't until they approached for a closer look that they discovered the deception and were filled with regret. While Wukong and Bajie were being lured away, the Real Tiger Vanguard had already circled back. Seizing the moment while Sanzang was alone, he whipped up a fierce whirlwind, swooping down from the sky and sweeping the monk into the air. In the blink of an eye, they vanished. Just like that, Sanzang had been captured and taken to the Yellow Wind Cave. Back at the lair, the Tiger Vanguard triumphantly reported to the Yellow Wind Sage, "I have captured Sanzang." He then presented the monk as an offering. When Sun Wukong learned that his master had been kidnapped due to his own carelessness, he was furious. His rage ignited. He stormed off toward Yellow Wind Cave, determined to rescue Sanzang. Upon hearing of Wukong's approach, the Yellow Wind Sage immediately dispatched the Tiger Vanguard to confront him. When enemies meet, tempers flare. Wukong didn't hold back this time. He unleashed his full power from the very first strike, attacking with relentless fury. Though the Tiger Vanguard was fierce, he quickly began to falter under Wukong's intense assault. Realizing he was no match, the Tiger Vanguard attempted to reuse his old trick, fleeing into the mountains to set another trap. But this time he was not so lucky. Wukong and Bajie had already seen through his ploy. Just as the Tiger Vanguard turned to run, Zhu Bajie, who had been lying in wait, leapt out from his ambush and blocked the escape route. Caught off guard, the Tiger Vanguard hesitated for just a moment, and that was all it took. With a mighty swing of his nine-toothed rake, Bajie struck him down. This time, the Tiger Vanguard did not escape. He met his end at Bajie's hands. And thus ends the tale of the Tiger Vanguard and journey to the west. Although the Tiger Vanguard is merely a minor character in Journey to the West, with limited appearances and little detail, he actually holds a remarkable achievement. After Sanzang took Sun Wukong as his disciple, the Tiger Vanguard was the very first demon to successfully capture the monk right under Wukong's nose. Despite being just a small-time villain who was quickly defeated by Wukong and Bajie, no one could have predicted that this obscure character would gain unexpected fame in the modern day, thanks to a video game. That game is Black Myth Wukong, a reimagining of Journey to the West. In the game, the Tiger Vanguard became hugely popular not only for his fierce and intimidating design, but also for his sheer combat difficulty. He's one of the most dreaded foes for new players, truly a newbie's nightmare. Countless players have fallen to his blade. However, the Tiger Vanguard in Black Myth Wukong is not the same minor demon who was smashed to death by Zhu Bajie in the original Journey to the West. Instead, he is portrayed as a descendant. According to the game's lore, after the Yellow Wind Sage was captured by the Heavenly Court, the Tiger Vanguard's two sons settled in Yellow Wind Ridge and built a small village where they lived in seclusion. Years later, the Yellow Wind Sage returned to the ridge, attempting to reclaim his former power and reunite his old followers. But the Tiger Vanguard's children refused to submit and challenged him. Both were defeated. One of them suffered such a brutal beating that he lost his mind, becoming a fearsome creature later known as the Mad Tiger. The other, in order to protect his deranged brother, chose to pledge allegiance to the Yellow Wind Sage and was ultimately granted his father's title, Tiger Vanguard. In this way, a once-forgotten side character was given new depth and a compelling backstory. Thanks to Black Myth Wukong, the Tiger Vanguard has transformed from a minor demon into a memorable legend. Starting with the Yellow Wind Ridge arc, Journey to the West introduces an intriguing concept. Any demon who eats the flesh of Sanzang will gain immortality and immense power. This idea runs through the entire story, all the way to the very end. But here's the mystery. Sanzang's past life was the Golden Cicada, a secret known only to the Celestial Realm. So how did the demons find out? Could it be that the gods intentionally leaked this information, so that Sanzang would be forced to endure all 81 tribulations as fate intended? What do you think? Was it destiny or divine manipulation? Deep in the mountains of Yellow Wind Ridge lies a fearsome demon who commands powerful magic. According to legend, he was once a mouse demon who cultivated beneath the sacred mountain. One day, he stole the sacred oil from a glass lantern, dimming its light. Fearing punishment from the Vajra Guardians, he fled the mountain and eventually settled in Yellow Wind Cave, where he transformed into a demon and claimed the land as his own. After wreaking havoc in heaven, Sun Wukong had already become a legendary figure known throughout the three realms. So when the Tiger Vanguard captured Sanzang and presented him to the Yellow Wind Sage, even the demon himself was shocked. He grew worried. If the captive was truly Sanzang, then his two powerful disciples would surely come to cause trouble. To avoid unnecessary conflict, the Yellow Wind Sage decided not to eat Sanzang right away. Instead, he tied him to the wind-fixing stake behind the cave, planning to wait a few days. If no one showed up after 3 to 5 days, he would then enjoy his monk meat in peace. Sure enough, not long after Sanzang was taken, Sun Wukong arrived at the Yellow Wind Cave. He stood outside and shouted loudly, demanding the demon release his master, or else he would level the entire cave to the ground. Since the Tiger Vanguard had caused all this trouble in the first place, the Yellow Wind Sage ordered him to go out and fight. Though extremely reluctant, the Tiger Vanguard had no choice but to obey. Unfortunately, it didn't take long before he was struck dead by Zhu Bajie with a single blow from his rake. After the Tiger Vanguard was killed, Sun Wukong returned to the entrance of Yellow Wind Cave once again and challenged the Yellow Wind Sage, mocking him for only daring to send his underlings to fight while hiding inside himself. The Yellow Wind Sage was finally provoked. Furious, he stormed out of the cave to engage Sun Wukong in battle. Wielding a three-pronged fork, the Yellow Wind Sage proved to be a formidable opponent. The two clashed fiercely on Yellow Wind Ridge for over 30 rounds without a clear winner. Sun Wukong then unleashed his technique, transforming his hairs into countless clones to surround and overwhelm the Yellow Wind Sage. Facing a horde of Wukong, the Yellow Wind Sage began to lose ground and grew anxious. In desperation, he revealed his ultimate technique, the Samadhi Divine Wind. Opening his mouth wide, the Yellow Wind Sage unleashed a fierce gale. Wukong struggled to keep his footing and had to quickly retract his hairs before charging at the Yellow Wind Sage once again. But the Yellow Wind Sage then released another powerful demonic wind, causing Wukong's fiery golden eyes to sting unbearably, leaving him unable to open his eyes. With his eyes injured, Sun Wukong had no choice but to retreat for the time being. Zhu Bajie quickly helped him escape from Yellow Wind Cave, searching for a place where they could rest and recover. Ever since Sanzang began his journey westward to retrieve the scriptures, the gods of heaven had been secretly watching over him, prepared to offer aid when the time was right. Just as Wukong was defeated, the guardian deity of the faith, Galan Bodhisattva, happened to pass by and decided to lend a hidden hand. The Galan Bodhisattva conjured a small thatched hut and transformed himself into a white-haired elderly waiting inside. When Zhu Bajie spotted the hut, he supported the injured Wukong and approached to ask for shelter. The old man warmly inquired how Wukong had been hurt, and then took the opportunity to explain. Wukong's eyes had been damaged by the Samadhi Divine Wind, and the only thing capable of countering that wind was the calm wind pearl held by Lingji Bodhisattva. The old man offered them lodging for the night and brought out a miraculous ointment called the 3-flower 9-seed balm to treat Wukong's injuries. He instructed Wukong not to open his eyes until morning, no matter what. The next day, Wukong awoke to find that his eyes had fully healed, but the thatched hut had completely vanished without a trace. He realized that some deity must have helped him in secret. But recalling how Guanyin had once instructed the gods that they could only assist from the shadows and never openly reveal themselves, he chose not to investigate further. Following the old man's guidance, Wukong set off and eventually found Lingji Bodhisattva, from whom he borrowed the Calm Wind Pearl. With the sacred treasure in hand, Wukong wasted no time and rushed back to Yellow Wind Cave, determined to rescue his master, Sanzang. When a Yellow Wind Sage saw that Sun Wukong, whom he had once defeated, had returned, he didn't feel fear. On the contrary, he became smug and overconfident. He was certain that with his Samadhi Divine Wind, he could easily win again. But to his great surprise, no matter how fiercely he summoned the wind, Wukong, now protected by the Calm Wind Pearl, remained completely unharmed. Meanwhile, the sage's minions were blown about in utter chaos, scattered and miserable. With the Samadhi Wind no longer a threat, Wukong wasted no time. In just a few moves, he brought the Yellow Wind Sage to the ground. Just as he raised his Rui Jingu Barn, ready to end the fight with one final strike, Lingji Bodhisattva suddenly appeared and stopped him. Lingji Bodhisattva drew out the flying dragon staff and effortlessly subdued the Yellow Wind Sage. He then revealed the sage's true origin to Wukong. Hearing this, Wukong nodded and agreed to let the Bodhisattva take the demon away for proper handling. He then entered the cave and rescued his imprisoned master, Sanzang. At last, their group had successfully overcome the trials of Yellow Wind Ridge. Afterward, they resumed their journey toward the western. Not far ahead lay the flowing Sand River, where Sanzang would soon encounter the last disciple destined to accompany him for the rest of the pilgrimage. The Yellow Wind Sage was the very first demon to truly injure Sun Wukong after he began accompanying Sanzang on the journey to retrieve the scriptures. And in the video game Black Myth Wukong, he appears as the boss of Chapter 2, which shows just how significant his presence is in the original journey to the west. At the start of Chapter 2 in Black Myth Wukong, players first encounter a mysterious headless monk. Soon after, the Yellow Wind Sage appears, carrying a massive bodhisattva head statue. It is later revealed that the headless monk is none other than the original owner of that statue, Lingji Bodhisattva. According to the game's backstory, the Yellow Wind Sage and Lingji Bodhisattva once trained together for 200 years. But eventually, the sage grew tired of being restrained. Seizing a moment when the Bodhisattva let his guard down, the sage beheaded him and took his head back to Yellow Wind Ridge. This time, he was determined to escape his fate of being subdued once more. Yellow Wind Ridge was truly an unforgettable chapter for Sanzang and his disciples. It was there that Wukong lost his master for the first time, and also suffered his first injury at the hands of a demon. Trial after trial made their journey increasingly difficult. As Guanyin had once said, the road to enlightenment would require surviving 81 tribulations, and this was just the beginning. Who knows how many more perils still lay ahead. In Journey to the West, besides Marshal Tianping being severely punished by the Jade Emperor for flirting with a fairy and later reincarnated as Zhu Bajie, there was another general who was banished to the mortal realm for his mistake. He is a taciturn and somewhat dull character, but he was once a general in the heavenly court. After accidentally breaking a precious glass lamp, he was exiled and subjected to severe punishment. This tragic general from the heavenly court is none other than the most low-key character in Journey to the West, Sha Wujing. Sha Wujing, also known as Sha Shang or Sha Monk, was originally the curtain-lifting general in the heavenly court. Despite the title general, his job was not to train soldiers or fight battles, but to help the Jade Emperor by lifting the curtain when he attended court. Although General Sha Wujing had the duty to protect the Jade Emperor, his martial skills were inferior to other gods like Erlang Sun, Giant Spirit God, and pagoda-bearing Heavenly Kingly. So the responsibility of protection rarely fell on him. In Journey to the West, Sha Wujing is described as having fluffy red hair, round bright eyes like lanterns, a face that is neither black nor green but indigo, and a voice like thunder. He is over 12 feet tall and wears a goose-yellow cloak with a white rattan belt. However, in Japanese adaptations, Sha Wujing's appearance resembles the local mythological creature known as the Kappa, leading many to believe that Sha Wujing is a deity transformed from a fish yokai. Curtain-lifting general was more of an attendant to the Jade Emperor than a general. Besides lifting the curtain when the Jade Emperor attended court, he didn't have any other significant duties. Therefore, the position of curtain-lifting general was not very prestigious and could not compare to Marshal Tianping, Zhu Bajie, former title. This is why Sha Wujing was not invited as a guest to the Peach Banquet, but was instead assigned to hold the lamp for the Jade Emperor. Almost all the main characters in Journey to the West have a connection to the Peach Banquet. Sun Wukong, for example, ate the peaches of immortality before the banquet began, which led to him being chased by 100,000 heavenly soldiers. Marshal Tianpong, Zhu Bajie, got drunk and flirted with Chang'er, resulting in his banishment to the mortal world. Similarly, Sha Wujing's downfall also began with the Peach Banquet. Originally, Sha Wujing was merely helping the Jade Emperor hold a lamp at the Peach Banquet, which shouldn't have led to any mistakes. However, due to a moment of carelessness, Sha Wujing accidentally broke the glass lamp at the banquet. Some might think breaking a lamp is not a severe offense, but this was no ordinary lamp. It was said to be a lamp that contained wisdom, and it was the Queen Mother's favorite lamp. The Queen Mother was adamant about punishment, and the Jade Emperor had no choice but to severely penalize Sha Wujing. Not only was Sha Wujing stripped of his position and banished to the mortal realm for breaking the glass lamp, but he also had to endure a harsh punishment. Every 7 days, 100 flying swords would pierce his heart. Compared to Sun Wukong, who was imprisoned under Five Finger Mountain for 500 years for stealing peaches and causing havoc in heaven, Sha Wujing's fate was much more pitiable. Even Zhu Bajie's punishment for flirting with Chang'er seemed less severe than the 1,000-sword torment Sha Wujing suffered for merely breaking a lamp. Unable to withstand the torment of the flying swords piercing his heart, Sha Wujing constantly hid and fled. However, no matter where he hid, the swords would always find him and inflict the same pain. Eventually, Sha Wujing discovered that if he hid in water, the swords could not find him. He finally settled in a place called the River of Flowing Sands, where he began to dwell, successfully avoiding the agony of the swords piercing his heart. Due to hiding in the River of Flowing Sands for many years, Sha Wujing developed exceptional swimming skills. However, he faced a significant problem. He had eaten all the fish and edible creatures within 100 miles. In the end, to survive, he began dragging passing travelers into the river to eat. The River of Flowing Sands had dangerous currents that couldn't even float a feather, and with Sha Wujing occupying it, ordinary people couldn't cross. One day, Guanyin Bodhisattva was searching for someone to retrieve the scriptures in the southern continent and passed by the River of Flowing Sands. Sha Wujing leapt out from the river to attack Guanyin, but her attendant, Muza, intercepted and fought Sha Wujing for dozens of rounds without a clear winner. After Muza revealed his identity, Sha Wujing realized who Guanyin was. Acknowledging his disrespect, he hurriedly knelt and begged Guanyin for salvation, hoping she could lift his punishment of 1,000 swords piercing his heart. Guanyin instructed Sha Wujing to convert to Buddhism and escort the scripture seeker to the Western to atone for his sins. Sha Wujing confessed to Guanyin that he had eaten 9 previous scripture seekers and noticed that their skulls floated on the River of Flowing Sands, which couldn't even float a feather. He found this unusual and strung the skulls into a necklace. Guanyin told Sha Wujing to keep the skull necklace and use it to help the scripture seeker cross the river. She then gave him the Buddhist name Sha Wujing, which marking the origin of his name. Because the River of Flowing Sands was a necessary route to the Western, Sha Wujing began patiently waiting for Tang Shanzang's arrival. Not long after, Tang Shanzang and his companions arrived at the river. Sha Wujing immediately emerged from the water to seize Tang Shanzang. but Sun Wukong quickly carried Sanzang away, while Zhu Bajie intercepted Sha Wujing and engaged him in battle. Sun Wukong joined the fight, and Sha Wujing, unable to withstand their combined strength, retreated to the river's depths. Zhu Bajie then entered the water and pretended to be defeated to lure Sha Wujing out. However, Sun Wukong, being impatient, attacked too soon before Sha Wujing reached the shore, allowing him to escape again. When Zhu Bajie tried to lure him out a second time, Sha Wujing refused to come ashore, opting instead to argue with Zhu Bajie from the water. Frustrated, Sun Wukong realized that they couldn't cross the river with the river Yokai still at large. Finally, they decided to seek help from Guanyin, who sent Muza. Muza called Sha Wujing to the shore and informed him that the monk before him was the scripture seeker. He instructed Sha Wujing to accept Sanzang as his master and acknowledge Sun Wukong and Zhu Bajie as his elder brothers. Because it was Guanyin's decree, Sanzang accepted Sha Wujing as his disciple. Sanzang then shaved Sha Wujing's head with a monk's knife and gave him the dharma name Sha Sung, also known as Sha Monk. Sha Wujing took the 9 skulls and, with the red gourd brought by Muza, arranged them into a raft to ferry Sanzang across the river of flowing sands. There's a hint in this story. Journey to the West mentions that Sanzang was a monk who had undergone 10 lifetimes of cultivation. The Sanzang seeking the scriptures was the 10th incarnation, which implies that the previous 9 incarnations met with misfortune. Sha Wujing claimed to have eaten 9 scripture seekers. A bold hypothesis emerges here. Were the 9 previous incarnations of Sanzang all eaten by Sha Wujing? From then on, Sha Wujing joined Sanzang's team on the journey to the west. Unlike the lively and active Sun Wukong and the lazy Zhu Bajie, Sha Wujing was a relatively silent and reserved individual. He was hardworking, serious, and unafraid of hardship, with a conservative and gentle nature. Though lacking in strong personal traits, he was indispensable to the team. During the journey, Sha Wujing's contributions were often in managing luggage or dealing with being captured by monsters. He rarely played a direct role in subduing yokai, but was crucial in maintaining harmony within the team through his words, ensuring the group's cohesion and stability. Although his abilities were not as prominent as his 2 senior brothers, he consistently offered his modest support when needed. Although Sha Wujing is described as lacking in wisdom, could it be possible that his perceived lack of wisdom was just an act? Compared to his 2 senior brothers, he rarely faced punishment from his master. Could this not be considered a form of wisdom in itself? If you enjoy my channel, please help by hitting the subscribe button and turning on the notification bell so you won't miss my upcoming videos. Thank you for watching until the end, and I'll see you next time.